The more Deontay Wilder talks, the more he proves me right. I've been telling you guys for the longest that this man is not very bright, to put it mildly. He's overly emotional, he's uneducated, and he is very, very easy for the businessmen in his team to manipulate. They got him like a puppet on a string. The likes of Al Heyman, the likes of Steven Espinoza, his friend at Showtime. Maybe even JD's. I'm not sure how much input JD's has. I know he's officially a manager / trainer, but still. Deluded, and of course, Rain Man over here. Shelly Finkel. Shout out to the individual who came up with that name for Shelly, or maybe they were mocking my impression of Shelly. I'm not sure, but now they come to mention it, Shelly does actually sound like the Rain Man. Deontay's gonna knock him out. So he's got all these smart businessmen pulling his strings, manipulating him, and he's coming out with all this nonsense as a result of that. What nonsense am I talking about? Well, let me give you some quotes here. The latest nonsense from out of Deontay Wilder's mouth. He says, America has been wanting a heavyweight king for a very long time, someone they can look up to and be happy about. I give America that pride and joy of having their own superstar and heavyweight champion they can call their own baddest man on the planet. People, the man is calling himself a superstar. Just let that sink in. Deontay, you've only fought on pay-per-view once in your entire career as the headliner. And that was against Tyson Fury. Without Tyson Fury, you wouldn't have been fighting on pay-per-view. Because now Tyson Fury's gone in a different direction, you're back on regular Showtime. If you were a superstar, you'd be fighting pay-per-view against Dominic Breazeale. That's what you'd be doing. When Canelo Alvarez was on HBO and those pay-per-view services, those pay-per-view platforms, he was fighting on pay-per-view because Canelo Alvarez is a genuine superstar. Deontay is not. He is so deluded. All these people have got in his ear and told him stuff that is just simply not true. Deontay doesn't seem to understand that he is the B-side against an AJ. And in fact, at this point, he might even be the B-side against a Tyson Fury. At least Tyson Fury went off and got a deal, a $100 million deal reportedly. Where's Deontay Wilder's deal at? He was offered, he's so smart, he was offered a $100 million deal by DAZN to fight AJ. He turned it down. That's how smart he is. And why was he offered that? He was offered that because AJ and his team, coming with the money, they want that WBC green belt because it's always been AJ's ambition to become undisputed champion. It's the belt. It's not Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder ain't no big superstar. He ain't doing no big pay-per-view numbers on his own. He's fighting regular Showtime. They won't even disclose his purse against Dominic Breazeale. The guy thinks he's a superstar. He's so deluded. It's incredible. He's no superstar. Without Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder would have never fought on a pay-per-view as a headliner. Never. He has Tyson Fury to thank for that. For, in the words of John Fury, fetching Deontay out the dark. Because that's what he did. He fetched him out the dark. He fetched him out the wilderness. You got Tyson Fury, who just signed a $100 million deal and has done better from his fight against Deontay than Deontay did himself. And Tyson Fury's British. These two British fighters, Fury and Joshua, already have eclipsed Deontay Wilder in his own country. In a certain sense, because with Tyson Fury, he eclipsed him because in one fight, Tyson Fury gained as big a profile in the US as Deontay Wilder did in 40 fights, or however many he has had now. In one fight, Tyson Fury equaled or eclipsed Deontay Wilder's profile in the United States. Just think about that. He did more in one fight in terms of building a profile than Deontay did in 40 in Wilder's own country. And as far as Anthony Joshua, of course, he doesn't have the profile of Wilder or Fury in the US yet, but yet he's still being paid more than Deontay Wilder's ever been paid for any of his fights. In fact, he's being paid, they say, a reported $32 million for the Jarrell Miller fight. Think about that. He's getting paid $32 million to fight Jarrell Miller. What's Deontay Wilder getting against Brazil? No, they don't want to say. And this guy says he's a superstar. What planet is this guy living on? I keep telling you guys, he is so foolish when it comes to business. He's so easy to manipulate. He's having his strings pulled. He is a puppet on a string for the likes of Rain Man over here. They know it. That's what they're doing with him. He continues on. Let me continue on with the quotes from Deontay. He says, since the last few fights, I've got the world's attention like I want it. This is just the beginning for Deontay Wilder. The things that I can do from now on are incredible. Those guys, Joshua and Fury, have a chance if they do the right things, make the right fights, have the right fights, then America will love them. Well, are you having the right fights, Deontay? You could have just fought AJ. Over $100 million deal. Wasn't that the right fight? No, you want to turn that down. You could have fought AJ. AJ was trying to fight you, and I'll get onto that a little bit later on. Wilder continues saying, but they have to understand that when they come to America, it's totally different. Our outlook and view is different. We like to be cocky. We like to talk old school. We like to see aggressiveness. The fighters fighting the best. They don't want to see nobody running. Well, talk about running. Didn't you just run from an AJ fight? Career high money, life-changing money, generational money. You ran from it. And you're talking about the fans don't want to see people running. You just ran. What are you talking about? He goes on to say, we like, cocky and old school. Well, Tyson Fury's cocky. Tyson Fury eclipsed you on your own show, the first ever pay-per-view that you did in the United States on Showtime. Tyson Fury eclipsed you with the cockiness, with the brash talk, with the trash talk. He eclipsed you. He had the public, the crowd, eating out the palm of his hand. You didn't. And after the fight, you had a bunch of Americans like Mayweather, Malignaggi coming out saying that you lost the fight. This guy's so delusional. It's incredible, people. He says, when these guys come to America, I am the king here, no matter what people say. If you're the king, how come you ain't getting paid a king's purse? Huh? How come Anthony Joshua in his next fight against Jarrell Miller is making more than you made against Tyson Fury, both you and Fury's purses combined? Joshua's making more than that against Miller in your country. How are you the king? Why are you not getting paid more than the other guys? If you say that you're the king. And you're talking rubbish. He continues on. I've got the influence over here. Everyone in the sport looks up to me because I'm the monster in the heavyweight division. They can't look over me. Those guys coming over, I wish them the best, but I want to see the best fights happening. Bruh, you just turned down the Anthony Joshua fight. How can you come out your mouth? How can you fix your mouth, as you guys like to say over there? How can you fix your mouth to come out and say that you want to see the best fights happening when you just turned down the best fight? What's wrong with you? It's incredible the stuff this guy comes out with. And he says the entire sport looks up to him. Really? Is that why Mayweather and a bunch of other American fighters, trainers, and journalists said that you lost to Tyson Fury? They really all look up to you, huh? They were all praising Fury's boxing skills, and that fight was really about Fury. It wasn't about Deontay. Deontay has his little cheerleader fans here and there. But the main feeling from that Deontay Wilder-Tyson Fury fight was that it was Fury who won the event. Even though it was a draw officially, Fury won the event. Look at the crowd at the end of the fight, cheering everything that Fury did. He won the event. He won the hearts and minds of the fans and the boxing fraternity in America with that performance. Not you, Deontay. That's why Tyson Fury was then offered this incredible ESPN deal off the back of that. Because he won the hearts and minds. Now, yes, Deontay was offered an ESPN deal too. Because they want that Fury rematch. ESPN already had Fury. They're like, okay, let's get Deontay in and let's do the Fury rematch. But it was Fury who created that situation with what he did. The excitement he created in Deontay's backyard. I say again, Tyson Fury in one fight managed to build his profile up to the same level or higher than Deontay. And Deontay's had 40 odd fights or whatever it is in the United States. And he's American. And he calls himself the king. Oh man, this guy. Anyway, he goes on to say, they have to be careful what they do here in America. They have to understand that boxing is not our top sport, so they could easily get bored of you. It's not like in England where boxing is almost like a second sport. These guys will be understanding what I've been going through to become a star. I had to deal with certain things in boxing with other sports that are in America because boxing does not get the same attention. Well, you know, Deontay, as with many of his fans, is very ignorant when it comes to boxing and sport in the UK. He absolutely knows nothing about it. Because for one, boxing in the UK hasn't always been a quote unquote second sport. It hasn't always been in a strong position. In fact, prior to Eddie Hearn coming on the scene and building himself up and getting this exclusive deal with Sky Sports, prior to all that, boxing in the UK wasn't the second sport or third or fourth or fifth or sixth sport. It was a niche sport. It was a sport which only really the hardcores watched. You maybe had David Haye for a while, but it wasn't anywhere near as popular before Eddie Hearn came on the scene as it is today. Not even close. And why do I make that point? Well, because the man who Deontay calls the worst promoter in the world, the man who he says is the puppet master and a slave master and all this stuff, Eddie Hearn, he was largely responsible for getting British boxing to the position it's in now, being so strong. British boxing is so strong that companies in the United States are trying to get the signature of British heavyweights and paying them millions and millions of dollars, $100 million deals. That's how strong boxing is in the UK. The television companies and broadcast companies in the United States are reaching their long arm over and plucking talent from the UK to bring it back to the States. That's how strong British boxing has become. And it hasn't always been that way. It was in a very, very weak position 6-7 years ago, wherever it was. Very weak position. The man who Wilder calls the slave master, the worst promoter in the world, he was largely responsible for making British boxing strong. And so the point I'm making here is, who's to say that Eddie Hearn can't have a similar amount of success in the US? Do I think it will be harder? Definitely. Am I certain he will succeed? No. But the fact is, he did revive British boxing, Eddie Hearn. He did that. Obviously with his fighters, in collaboration with his fighters like Carl Froch. Groves wasn't a Hearn fighter, but he obviously helped in the two Froch fights. Anthony Joshua, of course, etc. Kell Brook. So he's trying to do that same thing in the United States. We'll see whether he's going to become successful or not. But the point is, success isn't just handed to you in the UK. Hearn and the fighters had to work at it. And Sky, etc. They had to work at it to get it to where it is right now. Because 6-7 years ago, it wasn't like this. But Deontay seems to think it is. It wasn't easy. Yeah? Deontay talking about he's the star and this, that, and the other. As I've already mentioned several times, Tyson Fury has equaled your stardom in the US with one fight. he did in one fight what it took you 40 fights to do. And he's not even American. How about that? Man, this guy is so deluded, it's incredible. I had one more point to make, but I've forgotten. Deontay literally scrambles my brain with his stupidity at times, people. Let me go over what he said again. Okay, yeah, cockiness. Well, Tyson Fury's cocky. Tyson Fury out-talked Deontay Wilder in the build-up to their fight. Hands down. So he's got you beat on that too. Man, Deontay. I got to give it to the people in Deontay Wilder's camp. Rain Man, Heyman, etc. All these guys. Because they've got Deontay eating out the palm of their hand. You know, he's a puppet and he don't even seem to realize he's a puppet. Incredible stuff. So got to give them their props for that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about Deontay Wilder's latest absurd comments. Delusional comments, I think it's best described as. This guy's totally deluded. It's a sight to behold. But yeah, he's got a long, long way to go before he, if he can ever do it, becomes the superstar that he thinks he is already. He's got a very long way to go. A good start would have been to accept the fight against Anthony Joshua. That would have been a good start, because if he truly believes he can win, then maybe he can become the superstar. Maybe he can become the pay-per-view fight, because he's not a pay-per-view fighter. He's only pay-per-view when he fights a Brit. Think about that. The guy is only pay-per-view when he fights a Brit. And he's running around talking about he's a superstar in his country. Look at your purse versus Brazil versus Joshua's purse versus Miller. I nearly forgot to mention this, people. Oh, no, he didn't. I'm going to do a separate video about Deontay Wilder's comments regarding Tyson Fury facing Tom Schwartz. And he does make, to be fair to him, credit where credit's due, he does make some valid points about Fury versus Schwartz. But then he also talks some complete and utter nonsense. And no, Deontay Wilder interview would be a Wilder interview without him talking nonsense. He comes out and says, I think the Joshua fight will happen, but I don't know if it will happen in the next year. They said they want the fight in 2020. If they really wanted to fight, it would have happened a long time ago. You were just offered the fight, Deontay. They just offered you the fight. If they really wanted to fight, it would have happened a long time ago. No, if you really wanted to fight, you would have signed it. You were just offered the deal. $100 million. And you acting like they don't want it. What kind of demented individual are we dealing with here? Who's running around saying if they really wanted to fight, it would have. They just offered you generational money. Isn't that what you were looking for? And you turned it down. And you acting like you don't think they want to fight. People, you couldn't make this up. Anyway, I'm out. Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.